I'm Barrett Wilson with Guitar Tricks, and today we are talking about everything new wave guitar. Now, new wave, as far as genres is concerned, is quite a broad topic. There's a lot packed into it, so we're going to try and unpack some of it today and give you a starting point on where to dive in with this style. Now, real quick, for this video, if you could like it, also subscribe to the channel, that would be huge. Also, if you'd like to learn guitar step by step, check the link in the description, and there'll be a link to a free trial of Guitar Tricks. Now, when we think of new wave, we think of 70s, 80s, fun, catchy, popular music of the day, maybe a little bit of light rebelliousness that was reminiscent of the punk music that came before it, but it's still inspiring new music today. There's indie bands all the way to huge pop stars still coming back to this music and finding lots of inspiration. So if you want to go deep on new wave and really nerd out on it, try getting into some of these genres from that same time, the 70s and the 80s. You'll want to check out post-punk music, synth pop, rock, of course, experimental music, electronic dance. Anything around there is going to have a tinge of new wave music to it. Now, as far as guitar flavors are concerned with new wave, it's often described as jangly, the sound, very syncopated, highly rhythmic. It's definitely very riff heavy, which is great and very fun for the guitar. Also, it's described as oblique, which I don't really know what that means at all. I think it's just a cool word. But to me, it sounds like very odd or unconventional, which I think is really cool and fits the guitar perfectly. Okay, so let's talk about tone. Now, in new wave, generally there's a lot of sounds, a lot of big sounds, lots of synths, lots of bass, lots of big drums. With the guitar tone, we want to have something that cuts through. So generally that means our tone is going to be a little thinner than normal, maybe with boosted treble, maybe a little boosted mid-range, and then definitely lots of effects. Now, the main effect being the chorus effect. Now, what chorus is basically it takes your guitar signal, doubles it, sometimes triples it, detunes it a little bit with a few other things, and you just get this big, full sound. So let me show you. This is my clean tone with some chorus off. I'm gonna add in some chorus. Can you hear that? So it sort of doubles the sound, makes it very smooth. Now, a few other things we might add are some digital delay, or any kind of delay, really. It could be analog, it could be a lo-fi delay. And then maybe a little bit of reverb. And you got yourself a nice new wave tone. Now, that being said, there's really no rules when it comes to tone and new wave. It runs the gamut across the board. There's so many things that you can do, but that might be a good place to start. Now, if you really want to learn new wave guitar, go to guitartricks.com/new wave YouTube to learn techniques like arpeggiation, muted arpeggios, quick strumming, and also how to play a catchy new wave solo. All right, so now we've built a pretty nice new wave guitar tone. I wanted to start there because having our tone set gets us in the spirit to play this music, to start practicing, getting into the riffs, building techniques. So let's get to it. I want to start with arpeggiating chords. So let's grab an open chord. Let's take a C major chord. And what I want you to start doing is, instead of strumming it, practice picking individual notes. So this is playing arpeggios within the chord, arpeggiating the chord, or sometimes called a broken chord. So there's a million different patterns here. Just experiment and play your own. Okay, let's change the shape. Let's go to an A chord. practice plucking individual strings, really just have fun with it. Now from here, you're gonna wanna try and ornament the chord. Now this is basically playing around it, moving fingers around, seeing what sounds good close by. So in the case of this A chord, we can move our pinky around. Now with that arpeggiation, it's a great mixture. So here I'm removing my pinky, I'm adding it, I'm lifting it. Now, technically these are all like sus4 chord, sus2. Now these are great voicings to try on all of the open chords that you know. Now from here, a good thing to do is try and take it up the neck, try and play smaller shapes. Now all these smaller shapes, they kind of live within these bigger shapes down here. They're just little pieces of them. So some popular ones would be, say we're playing this shape. A small little shape on D, G, and B strings. Ring on 5th fret of D, middle on 4th of G, index on 3rd of B. This is a fun shape. Again, you can start ornamenting around it with that pinky. Okay, another one would just be like your open A chord. If you play it with one index finger, take that up to the 7th fret. This is a D. And when you play this, you can play all the notes around it. Really great, really fun. Also some of these voicings on the G, B, and high E. So you've got shapes like this. This is a minor shape. This is 7, 6, 5, ring, middle, index. It's a minor shape, it sounds great. You can play that also as a major if you take that 6th fret of B, move it up, play with your pinky. And again, finding small little ornaments around these. Lots of fun stuff. It leads to a lot of experimentation. So just have fun. From here, it's really fun to start adding in other things, playing up and down the neck, adding in intervals like thirds and fourths, playing them with open strings. So say if we're in the key of D, we can play these major and minor thirds up and down the neck. This is a major third here on 7th fret. We go down. This is a minor third. This is another minor third. This is a major third. Add in some open strings. So now I'm strumming, I'm doing a real syncopated pattern. And then of course, you can't forget, just play simple power chords. Maybe add in some open strings for your power chords. Some open chord voicings. It's all gonna sound good if it's really rhythmic, if you've got that chorus effect on, you've got your effects together. Now the last thing I wanna talk about here is some of the rhythmic side of it. So syncopation and anticipation, you're gonna see a lot of that. Now with syncopation, what's happening is instead of playing on all downbeats, 1, 2, 3, 4, or all upbeats like in reggae, 1, 2, 3, 4, we're kind of doing a mixture of the two. So some downbeats, some upbeats. You get kind of a rolling, lilting rhythm happening. So maybe like a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 4 and. You know, it's a mixture of the two of those things. Really fun to mess around with. The other thing is anticipated rhythms. So these are rhythms that have a bit of a push. They come a little sooner than normal. So say we're going from a D to a G. Instead of going one bar at a time like this, 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2, 3 E and a 4 E. We might go to that G a little bit earlier. So 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2, 3 E and a 4 E. This adds to a lot of variety, a lot of really fun things that can happen within the band, within the rhythm section and the drums and the bass. So look out for those rhythms as well. All right, thanks so much for joining me today. I really hope you got a lot out of this and that you're gonna start experimenting with these new wave guitar flavors. See you next time.